give us back our flag, give us back our England, Ben? Is that what you're saying?
Well, sort of. Listen, I wrote this book. It's called English, and it was, I suppose, my search for my own identity. And what I have to do is, first of all, put my hands up. I'm actually a bit of a mongrel when it comes to my Englishness. My father's Canadian. I've got Scottish heritage. But I found it fascinating. When you do go to Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, they've got a very strong sense of their own identity. And I suppose I wanted, in post-Brexit, post-Scottish referendum, to have a little look at what it means to be English in 2017. Are we allowed to be proud? When I was writing this book, every time I mentioned to someone I was writing a book about Englishness, they said, "Oh, you mean Britishness, don't you?" But I was very specific that I wanted to understand more about our identity. And the St George's Cross comes into this. It's something that I think a lot of people are quite embarrassed to display outside their houses because of its the fact that it's been hijacked largely by the far right.
Afua, do you consider yourself British or English?
I consider myself British, and I think that that's a phenomenon that I've observed among people who have black heritage or other immigration from the Commonwealth, because I think Britishness is more of a political identity that people who have an immigration history relate to. And I've spoken to English people in the past who've actually said to me, anyone can be British, but we're the English and we're a tribe, and they see it almost as a kind of tribal white identity. And
so do the Scottish, though, and so do the Welsh, and so do people...
I found that people from ethnic minority backgrounds are more comfortable saying, I'm Scottish, not feeling they have to say, I'm black Scottish or I'm Sikh Scottish, just I'm Scottish. Whereas I think as black people, we often say, I'm black British, and feel we have to qualify it, and then we don't embrace Englishness. I mean, I've never lived in any other part of the UK other than England, but I would never call myself English. And that's why I really welcome Ben's book. I think we need to explore that further. I think it is partly this sense, and that I'm interested in identity, so I think it's so important to be able to own your identity, and it's really important to, if you are English, be able to feel proud about it. But I think Englishness does have a lot of skeletons in its closet that we haven't explored yet, and I think that's one reason people have just swept it under the carpet and allowed it to be co-opted by the far right. And that's the problem.
Your book opens, Ben, a really lovely passage where you went and you go around the country doing all sorts of very typically English things, and you do the cheese rolling race down the hill, don't you? And it's absolutely bonkers. And there's that quintessential eccentricity about sort of English heritage that undoubtedly is stuff that we can be proud of, and we can be proud of moments like that. But as Afua was saying, there are those skeletons as well.
Listen, I think we're all singing from the same hymn sheet here, hopefully Jerusalem. But I think Afua was completely right. But my book was just identifying maybe the characteristics of being English, which some of them very obvious, the frequent apologies,
well, that's one of the reasons,
eccentricity,
I think, why there's a problem, isn't it? Because we're all sort of like, you know, oh, no, honestly, your nation's better.
Well, it's very un-English. It's very un-English to be patriotic. We're not boastful. We like to underplay things. It's, you know, we wear jackets with holes in the elbows and battered old cars. We don't like to show off. We're not a show-offy
And that's one of the issues, isn't it? I mean, there's almost nothing that provokes as much passion on social media as this. I've already been deluged by people saying this morning, what's wrong with being English? I'm proud. It isn't very English to fly flags out of your window, is it? And kind of, you know, drape yourself in patriotic.
Or is it? Are we talking about a Stephen Fry England here, with the way you're describing it?
You are quite posh.
There's a lot of English.
And you do describe yourself as quite posh.
It's, you know, listen, I do sound quite posh. I'm not going to shy away from that, but I love the fact in England we do make so many assumptions about people's accent, how they dress, where they live, what job they do, all of it, haircuts, all of these things give us an interpretation of that individual. But I think there are certain things that do kind of tie us and thread us all together.